The fall of Afghanistan, the fallout in West Asia. While Pakistan takes a lead role, it is West Asia's influence that will shape the future of the beleaguered country. On September 7, 3 weeks after they walked into Kabul without any resistance, the Taliban announced an interim council of ministers. This government formation was tightly controlled by Pakistan. The head of its Inter-Services Intelligence, ISI, Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid, had made a high-profile descent on Kabul a few days earlier to signal the success of Pakistan's 20-year project to install the Taliban in power and, more immediately, to ensure that the incoming government would safeguard its interests. The accord with Pakistan. Pakistan appears to have got its way. Afghanistan's acting Prime Minister is Mullahs, close associate of former Taliban founder Mullah Omar. But this could be a short-term appointment as he has not shown in Taliban ranks either as warrior or administrator. Abdul Ghani Baradar is his deputy, but again, this could be a token position. Baradar had been arrested in 2010 by the Pakistanis for pursuing a dialogue with the Hamid Karzai government without Pakistani sanction and jailed for 8 years. Pakistan's true protégés are Sirajuddin Haqqani, the acting Interior Minister, and Mohammad Yaqub, the acting Defence Minister, a son of Mullah Omar, who is also close to Haqqani. Both have long-standing ties with Pakistan and should be the real wielders of power in Kabul. The West Asian players. While Pakistan is playing the lead public role in Afghan affairs, the country's West Asian/Gulf neighbors will be a significant influence in shaping the future of that beleaguered country. Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Iran have been direct role players in Afghan affairs for over 25 years. In the 1990s, the first two were supporters and sources of funding for the Taliban, while Iran was an antagonist, backing the Northern Alliance against the Emirate in Kandahar. After the 9/11 attacks, all three countries became deeply involved with the Taliban. From 2005, the Gulf sheikdoms have contributed millions of dollars to different Taliban leaders and factions. Iran began a substantial engagement with various Taliban leaders from 2007 and provided funding, weapons, training and refuge, when required. It wanted the Taliban to maintain pressure on the US forces to ensure their speedy departure from the country. In the 2010s, when the US began to engage with Iran, return of the Mullahs. Taliban have sent a clear message that they care little about what the world thinks of them. The debate on whether the Taliban would form an inclusive government representing all sections of Afghan society was laid to rest by the Taliban themselves on September 7 when the group's spokesman, Zabihullah Mujahid, announced the formation of the new administration of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. Of the 33 cabinet ministers named, 30 are Pashtun, 2 ethnic Tajiks, and 1 is Uzbek. The Taliban are predominantly Pashtun, who make up some 40% of Afghanistan's ethnically diverse population of 40 million. Women and the Hazara Shia minority, both faced targeted harassment and discrimination when the Taliban were in power in the 1990s, were excluded completely. 17 ministers are on the UN sanctions blacklist for terrorists, including the head of the government, Mullah Hussain, and Sirajuddin Haqqani, the head of the Haqqani network. Mullah Hibatullah Haqqani, the Taliban's reclusive emir, will be the Amirul Momineen, commander of the faithful, a title Mullah Omar had assumed in the 1990s. With the cabinet portfolios allocated to the Taliban's core and the Haqqanis, and introducing a system that resembles the previous Islamic Emirate known for its disregard for basic human rights, the Taliban have sent a clear message that they care little about what the world thinks about them. Today's Taliban appear to be stronger than their last order. In the 1990s, only 3 countries recognized the Islamic Emirate. The Taliban also never controlled the whole of Afghanistan. But now, more regional powers are ready to engage with them, including China and Russia. The group has also claimed total control over the country, with Panjshir, the last holdout, overrun earlier this week. With the new government, a stronger Taliban are trying to tighten their grip, though it may not be easy. Ever since Afghanistan became a republic in 1973, no government in Kabul has managed to stabilize the country. The ethnic, Religious and political contradictions are too deep to be glossed over by the Taliban's divisive Islamist Pashtun nationalism. In Panjshir, the rebels may have withdrawn to the mountains, like the Taliban did in 2001, but they could regroup and hit back like the Taliban did after 2005. The total exclusion of Shias and marginalization of other ethnicities could blow back in the near term. Afghanistan has also seen the emergence of a vibrant civil society, especially in its cities, which may not accept the Taliban's rule of the Mullahs quietly. Already, the crackdown on women's rights has sparked large-scale protests by women in Kabul and elsewhere, which was unimaginable in the 1990s. If the Taliban were wise, they would have focused on healing the wounds of the long war and rebuilding the ruptured state and society. But the Pashtun, Islam